Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
People, stop what you are doing right now, because what just happened in the NFL over the last 24 hours is the kind of madness that comes around maybe once in a generation. We are talking blockbuster trades falling apart, a superstar quarterback choosing his new home, and the Minnesota Vikings sitting right at the center of a perfect storm that could define this entire franchise for the next decade. Buckle up, because this one is going to be a wild ride from start to finish. Let's set the scene. Just a few days ago, the entire football world was buzzing about what looked like the blockbuster move of the 2026 offseason. The Baltimore Ravens, desperate to upgrade a pass rush that finished tied for 28th in the entire NFL last season with just 30 sacks, had agreed to send the Las Vegas Raiders 2 first-round picks in exchange for five-time Pro Bowler Maxx Crosby. 2 first-round picks. That's the kind of price tag that makes even the boldest general managers sweat through their suits. But Baltimore did it because Lamar Jackson is in his prime, the window is open, and Crosby is one of the most terrifying pass rushers on the planet when healthy. And then Tuesday night happened. The Las Vegas Raiders dropped a statement on the NFL world that hit like a thunderbolt out of a clear blue sky. Quote, "The Baltimore Ravens have backed out of our trade agreement for Maxx Crosby. We will have no further comment at this time." That was it. No explanation. No softening. Just cold, hard business. The entire football universe lost its collective mind in real time. Reports quickly came flooding in that Crosby had reportedly failed his physical, with Ravens medical staff raising concerns about the torn meniscus in his left knee that required surgery back in January. Think about the audacity of that moment. Crosby had already traveled to Baltimore. He had already said an emotional goodbye to Raiders fans in a 13-minute video. He had looked Raiders Nation in the eye and said he would always bleed silver and black. And then the Ravens looked at his knee and said, "No thank you." Now, here is where this story gets genuinely fascinating, because the conspiracy theories started flying immediately. One NFL general manager told reporters the whole situation was, and we will keep it clean here, absolute nonsense on Baltimore's part. The Raiders themselves were furious. Crosby's agent came out swinging, insisting his client was ahead of schedule in his recovery, and everybody with eyes in their head pointed out that within roughly 13 hours of backing out of the Crosby deal, Baltimore had pivoted to sign Trey Hendrickson to a massive 4-year, $112 million contract without giving up a single draft pick. Did the Ravens get cold feet about surrendering 2 first-rounders when they realized Hendrickson might be sitting there for a fraction of the cost? Or did their medical team genuinely find something alarming in Crosby's knee? That question will probably never be answered definitively, but the storyline is absolutely delicious. Regardless of what really happened in Baltimore's medical facility, the ripple effects of this thing are enormous, and that brings us straight to Minnesota. Because while the Ravens were busy blowing up the biggest trade of the offseason, the Vikings were sitting there watching their own pass rush trade market transform in real time. Jonathan Greenard, Minnesota's 28-year-old edge rusher on a 4-year, $76 million deal, has been available on the trade block all offseason. The Vikings have cap problems. Greenard reportedly wants a new deal despite having 2 years left on his contract, and Minnesota needs ammunition to solve their quarterback situation. A trade for Greenard makes organizational sense even if it stings emotionally. Greenard is no slouch. The man put up 12 sacks in 2023, then 12.5 more sacks in 2024, and made his first Pro Bowl. He is the kind of every-down defensive end who brings it against the run and can walk off the field any given Sunday with double-digit sacks on the season. But 2025 was a rough year, with injuries limiting him to just 3 sacks in 12 games, and that has complicated his market value heading into this moment. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that the Vikings want a day 2 pick or better, and insiders across the board have confirmed that multiple teams have been calling Minnesota about him. Here is where the Baltimore chaos directly helps Minnesota. Before the Crosby trade fell apart, teams like the Eagles, the Colts, the Buccaneers, the Seahawks, and the Cowboys were all circling Trey Hendrickson as their pass rush solution. Once Baltimore swooped in and locked Hendrickson up on a long-term deal, every single one of those teams suddenly found themselves without a solution at edge rusher. And the next name on the shopping list? Jonathan Greenard. NFL writer Evan Sidery put it perfectly when he noted that teams who had been pursuing Hendrickson were now planning to pivot directly toward a Greenard trade, with the price being a day 2 pick. The Athletic's Diana Rossini confirmed the Eagles specifically called the Vikings, and multiple NFC teams with championship aspirations are suddenly paying very close attention to what Minnesota will accept. If you are sitting in the Vikings' new front office right now, you are rubbing your hands together because the leverage just swung in your direction. Philadelphia is the most intriguing suitor. Howie Roseman has been trying to keep Jalen Phillips in Philly, but if that deal does not come together, the Super Bowl champions desperately need edge rush help, and they have the draft capital to make a move. A package involving Philadelphia's second-round pick could be a real possibility. The Washington Commanders have also been floated, and there is an absolutely tantalizing trade concept floating around where Minnesota packages pick number 18 and Greenard to Washington in exchange for the 7th overall pick in April's draft. That would be a massive move that opens up a whole new world of options for Kevin O'Connell's squad. The New England Patriots are in the conversation too. Mike Vrabel is in New England. They have cap space, and they need pass rush help in a serious way. A package involving New England's second-round pick and a future selection could get this done. The Indianapolis Colts are more complicated since they already traded their first-round pick to the Jets, leaving them with very little ammunition before round 3, making them the least likely suitor despite having a real need on defense. The bottom line on Greenard is this: whoever was hoping to get Trey Hendrickson just had the door slammed in their face, and Jonathan Greenard is now the best available pass rusher either through trade or free agency. That is a position Minnesota never expected to be in, and it is going to drive the price of a trade through the roof compared to what it might have been a week ago. The Vikings need to play this perfectly and not blink. The leverage is real. But now let us get to the storyline that has every Vikings fan either clicking refresh on their phone every 3 minutes or pacing the living room like an expectant parent, because Kyler Murray is officially a free agent as of today, and the reports coming out of the NFL rumor mill are sending the Purple Faithful into a full-on frenzy. Here is the situation. The Arizona Cardinals informed Murray earlier this offseason that they were releasing him, making the 28-year-old former first overall pick a free agent for the very first time in his NFL career. Murray is due $36.8 million in guaranteed money from Arizona, which means his next team can theoretically sign him for near minimum money while he cashes that enormous check from the desert. That is a remarkable situation for any quarterback-hungry team, because you are essentially getting a 2-time Pro Bowler at a massive discount. And the Minnesota Vikings have been the clear frontrunner from the moment Murray hit the market. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero identified the Vikings as the expected favorite. Their betting odds on DraftKings moved from 110 all the way to 295, which is about as heavy a favorite as you will ever see in a quarterback free agency race. The fit makes absolutely every bit of sense in the universe. Kevin O'Connell is one of the best quarterback developers and offensive minds in football. Justin Jefferson is arguably the best wide receiver on planet Earth. Jordan Addison is a legitimate weapon. The offensive infrastructure in Minnesota is first class, and O'Connell has coaxed outstanding performances out of Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, and Josh Dobbs at various points in his tenure. What he could do with a healthy, motivated Kyler Murray operating at peak capacity is the kind of thought experiment that makes offensive coordinators drool. Murray's statistics tell you everything you need to know about his ceiling. When healthy in 2024, he was the 11th ranked quarterback in the league by QBI scoring. He was a top 10 quarterback in 2021. The talent has never been in question. Injuries and organizational dysfunction in Arizona have been the story, but change of scenery magic is real in this league, and pairing Murray with O'Connell's creative offensive system and Minnesota's elite weapons could be the kind of resurrection story that defines a quarterback's legacy. But here is the dramatic twist, because there is a second suitor in this race that refuses to go away, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike McCarthy is now the head coach in Pittsburgh after leaving Dallas, and the argument for Murray in Steel City has real merit. The Steelers have cap space, they have weapons after acquiring Michael Pittman Jr. via trade, and McCarthy's West Coast system theoretically suits Murray's play style. If Aaron Rodgers does not return to Pittsburgh, Murray becomes their most attractive option at quarterback by a significant margin. However, and this point cannot be overstated enough, the idea of Kyler Murray choosing Pittsburgh over Minnesota would be one of the more baffling decisions in recent memory. Think about what Minnesota is offering: an elite head coach who specializes in getting the most out of quarterbacks, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, a team that won 14 games just one season ago, an indoor dome, which matters enormously for a quarterback who has played in exactly one game under 45 degrees in his entire NFL career. The AFC North is brutal, cold outdoor football in November and December, and it is a war every single week against Baltimore, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. The NFC North is a much more quarterback-friendly environment for a player trying to rebuild his legacy and prove he can stay healthy. If Murray does somehow choose the Steelers, the Vikings' next call probably goes to Aaron Rodgers. Say what you want about Rodgers and all the noise that has followed him over the past few years, but the argument for a low-risk Rodgers signing in Minnesota is genuinely compelling. The Vikings have top-5 defensive talent under Brian Flores. They have elite weapons. Kevin O'Connell could tell Rodgers to manage the game, protect the ball, and not turn it over, and with that roster around him, Minnesota would be a legitimate playoff team. There is also the poetic Brett Favre arc to consider. Favre went from Green Bay to the Jets and then came to Minnesota, nearly reached the Super Bowl, and became a beloved figure in purple. Rodgers following that exact same career trajectory from Green Bay through the Jets and ending up in Minnesota would be one of the most incredible stories in modern NFL history. But let us be honest about what we all want here. We want Kyler Murray in purple. We want that 28-year-old dual-threat quarterback getting the ball to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison in Kevin O'Connell's genius offense. And we want the Minnesota Vikings to take that next massive step toward the Super Bowl they have been chasing for so long. The infrastructure is there, the coaching is there, the weapons are there. Murray just needs to choose wisely. Today is going to be one of the most consequential days in Minnesota Vikings history. Kyler Murray is officially on the market. Jonathan Greenard's trade value just skyrocketed because Baltimore imploded the Crosby deal. Multiple NFC contenders are calling the Vikings' phone off the hook. And Kevin O'Connell's front office is navigating all of these moving pieces simultaneously while the entire fan base watches with their hearts in their throats. This is what NFL free agency is supposed to feel like. This is the drama, the chaos, the high-stakes poker game that makes professional football the greatest sport on the planet. And the Vikings are not just watching from the sidelines. They are right in the middle of it, and everything that happens over the next 48 hours could shape this franchise for the next 5 years. So here is what you need to do right now. If you want Kyler Murray in a Vikings uniform, smash that thumbs up button so hard the algorithm knows we mean business. Drop a comment below and let me know who you think Greenard gets traded to and whether you trust the process with Kyler or if you have already started mentally preparing for the Aaron Rodgers era in Minnesota. Every single comment, every like, every subscription tells us you are locked in for this ride, and trust me, you do not want to miss a single update as this thing unfolds. Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on your notifications because on a day like today, news is going to be breaking faster than any of us can keep up with. Let's get Kyler to Minnesota. Let's get this franchise to the promised land. The Vikings are making moves, and we are here for every single second of it. Let's go Skull Nation.
Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.